In this video, we'll define the absolute value of a number, and then evaluate expressions containing absolute values. To start, we're asked what is the absolute value of a number, so we'll define it. And the absolute value of a number is defined to be that number's distance from zero, which can sound a little odd, but we'll look at a picture, and then we'll talk about a more practical way of thinking about absolute values. So to define it, the absolute value of a number is that number's distance from zero. So let's look at a picture. We'll take a quick number line, and we can mark off a couple places here. So we'll put 0 in the middle, and then if I take something like -3, and then I'll have 3 over here as well. And so if I'm thinking of a number's distance from 0, looking at the distance between -3 and 0, I can see that that's, let me mark these off, I'd have -2 right here and -1 right here. That would be 3 units. So I can see that between -3 and 0, there are 3 units. Now, if I come over to 3, I would have 1 right here and 2 right here. That would also be 3 units. So what we can summarize then is that the absolute value, which we write with these straight vertical bars, we do a straight vertical bar, -3, and then another straight vertical bar, and that's representing the absolute value of the number -3. What we can see then, since it's its distance from 0, that that's just going to be +3. Now, when we take the absolute value of 3, which we'll write as a straight vertical bar, a 3, and then another straight vertical bar, that's also just 3. And this will happen in every case. So in practice, we can think of taking the absolute value as taking the positive version of a number. So let's jot that down. The formal definition of the absolute value of a number is that it's that number's distance from 0. But in practice, taking the absolute value of a number is just taking the positive version of that number. So it's taking the positive version, or the positive part, all right, positive version of that number. To finish up, we'll go down and evaluate a couple expressions containing absolute values. So I can see in part A here that I have the absolute value of -5, and again, these straight vertical bars are denoting that we're using the absolute value here. So the absolute value of -5, again, if I think of the positive version, or that distance from 0, it's just going to be +5. Next, I have the absolute value of 32. 32 already is a positive number, so it's just going to be +32. In these last couple, we're going to have to do a little bit more arithmetic. So this next one, I have 3 minus 7 inside those straight vertical bars. So this is the absolute value of that expression, 3 minus 7. So the first thing I want to do is calculate 3 minus 7, which would be -4. So I'm taking the absolute value of -4, and that will work out to just be +4. The next one, I have 2, and then this vertical bar with -1.8 inside. So what that's telling me to do is take 2 times that absolute value of -1.8. So absolute value of -1.8 will be +1.8. So this becomes 2 times +1.8 when I calculate that absolute value, and now I can multiply. 2 times 1.8 will simply be 3.6.